What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday. Guys, tons of news dropping in. Two Samoans possibly returning to the WWE. We're going to talk all about it. The Rock possibly coming back to a major pay-per-view. And there was some speculation about Samoa Joe. Today, tune in right now, subscribe, hit that thumbs up because it's the top story of the day.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
What's going on, everyone? This is Jose G for Sportskeeda Wrestling, and filling in for Kev Kellum is Jeremy Bennett, the guy that does the voices for all the videos, most of the videos that you guys see on Sportskeeda Wrestling. This is what he looks like. Jeremy Bennett, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being on the show today. And today's top story, how are you, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on. I've always loved to fill in on a daily one of these times, and thank you for bringing me on tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm looking forward to the weekend. We got SmackDown tonight, AEW tonight, Impact Wrestling on Saturday. Then we got In Your House on Sunday. So we got a weekend full of wrestling, a lot of coverage here on Sportskeeda. And if you haven't done so, if you're just tuning in, make sure you're hitting that like button, engage with the show, show us the hearts, the laugh emojis, the mad emojis, the surprised emojis. As long as you're engaging, the more viewers we're going to get on the show. And also make sure you are sharing. If you're watching on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell so you never miss a new video, a live stream, or new post or breaking news, such as what we got going on tonight here on the top story. Big news coming in, a lot of stuff being thrown out, but the big one is The Rock returning for a major pay-per-view. Jeremy, what did you think of this story, and what can you tell us about this?
I mean, we've been asking this for a long time, especially ever since Roman Reigns returned with this great persona, this great story that's been with the Usos. Probably one of the best laid stories of the past decade in terms of long-term booking has been what they've been doing with Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, and the Usos. It only makes complete sense that they bring more family in for this feud. And what bigger name to have than The Rock? I think we've been wanting this for a long time, and WrestleMania is the only place to do it. And let's start sowing those seeds at Survivor Series and get on that road to WrestleMania, baby.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree, man. But it is being reported that Dave Meltzer pointed this out earlier this morning when this news dropped, and that there is a lot of speculation that we can have The Rock returning back to the WWE as soon as Survivor Series. So we can be planting to see the seeds for this Roman versus Rock, the tribal chief versus the people's champion. This is going to lead for a great storytelling. And if you do it right, kind of like what The Rock did back a few years ago, where he called the match a year ahead of time at WrestleMania for the title. If we could do something of that sort, have a whole year buildup of this, okay, I think this could work. But will his schedule allow it? That's the thing. He's a very busy guy. The last time he wrestled in the WWE, he got injured, when he had a full-fledged match, so he's not going to be The Rock of old, but he's still going to bring that energy. But this is great because this also leads into kind of our secondary story of Survivor Series, because today we also found out through Andrew Zarian of the Matman podcast, wrestling podcast, that Survivor Series the location has been revealed. And Andrew Zarian has been a guy that has nailed tons of stories in the last few months that, you and I have been covering all of this. And this might be another one. And it looks like Survivor Series will be coming out of the Barclays Center in New York City. A rowdy crowd. Survivor Series is always a great show. What's your take on this? Is Barclays the right call for Survivor Series?
I think so. It's a tremendous building with a lot of history in its short time. Obviously, the New York crowd, you're going to get a worldwide crowd. You're going to get more of a worldwide crowd now that the pandemic is starting to die down. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to get a lot more of a a out of town base than you would normally get once SummerSlam and Survivor Series kind of hits. But still, you still got those core New Yorkers. And, I always think back to when TakeOver was there at Sasha and Bailey.
So good.
Just the atmosphere of that. The atmosphere is going to be off the hook. And, it's good to have these major cities where the fans are going to bring it to bring back that live atmosphere that we've all been missing in pro wrestling. So obviously, to me, I think the Barclays is a tremendous choice. And if you get The Rock, imagine that pop when that music hits.
Oh, man, that is going to be a legendary pop if that music hits at Survivor Series in New York City. It's going to be absolutely insane. But let's get into the comments here and see what are the people saying. We have James Espanto Fernando Taguay joining us, saying, "What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining us." Kevin, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say Fragile or Fragile. I'm sorry. I apologize, Kevin, if I get this wrong, but it doesn't matter what you think, Jabroni, because he's hyped up for The Rock coming back. James Espanto is hyped that The Rock is finally coming back. Again, we don't know if this is happening. This is pure speculation. This is Dave Meltzer speaking, okay? So you got to take it with a little grain of salt here, but it's still to be newsworthy because there's a lot of outlets that have been covering this, Jeremy.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, like I said, this has been one of the best laid stories in a long time in the WWE. So this just adds yet another layer to it. What do you think? Do you think Jimmy's going to be coming around eventually? So then you've got a whole group of people up against The Rock, or do you think Jimmy sides with The Rock? Where do you think he leans? Because right now he's still not buying in. He's not acknowledging Roman Reigns.
So no, you're absolutely right about that. It'll be an interesting angle if Jimmy Uso comes around and acknowledges Roman, but they can continue the storyline where he's being just completely absurd and even more point to the more than Jey Uso was, because we had a point where Jey Uso was just being completely like arrogant about it and not wanting to acknowledge him. So maybe Jimmy does the same thing, but even more than Jey, and then gets the final beatdown. And what if it's The Rock the one that turns? Like, we got to think about that too. Like, what if The Rock acknowledges the tribal chief?
Oh, man.
So you got to think about that too.
I mean, imagine the look on The Rock's face the first time Roman tells him to acknowledge him. I can't wait for that response.
I can only imagine The Rock. He would be like, "Who in the blue hell do you think?" It doesn't matter. I don't know, man. It'll be great. I just know it's going to be for some great TV. We'll see what happens here. But let's jump into our next news, because from one Samoan to another Samoan that just recently got released, not even just a few months ago, Samoa Joe is making news again this afternoon. And a matter of fact, just right before we went live, Sean Ross Sapp is reporting, and again, speculating, that numerous WWE and NXT talent and staff members have informed him that they've heard NXT is interested in bringing Samoa Joe back. Huge news. Samoa Joe was the best when he was in NXT. His matches were with Finn Balor in Japan, was one of NXT's best matches I have ever seen in my life. Dude, that's huge news.
Yeah, it's real interesting because it comes off the heels of a report by Mike Johnson of PW Insider the other day where they're thinking about reconsidering letting Aleister Black go. So now I think it seems like they realized maybe they got a little too cut happy with who they released and not really realizing the value of what they had. And, what Joe brought to the commentary table was something that was truly tremendous. And now if he's finally truly ready to be back into the ring, I don't blame the WWE for wanting to try to bring him back into the fold.
NXT, I think, would be a great fit for him. I think he could do a lot with the upcoming talent that is coming through NXT right now, especially with all the top guys with Karrion Kross, Gargano, Cole, Dunn, just a numerous amount of talents that are coming out right now. They're in the top spot. But Samoa Joe versus Kross interests me so much right now.
I wonder though if he would be in NXT by then, because I really think that he's dropping the title this weekend and going to be moved up, in my opinion.
And there's a lot of speculation about that too. It's been widely reported that there's a lot of interest in Karrion Kross being fast tracked to the main roster.
Yeah.
That could very well be the case. I mean, that happened to Keith Lee. Remember when, as soon as he had the double championship, he let go of one, and it wasn't like 2 or 3 weeks later, he dropped the title and came up to the main roster. So we've seen that happen before.
Yeah, but the landscape of NXT has changed so much since Joe was there. It is going to be just like when Finn Balor came back. Obviously, Finn was only going to be in NXT for about 3 months. It turned out to be a year and a half, but look what we got out of it. There's going to be, the landscape has changed so much. There's going to be so many great things you can do with Samoa Joe, whether it be a babyface or a heel. Either way, it's going to be something that's really going to boost the value of that brand.
Absolutely, man. We got viewers on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Pro Wrestling Savage is saying, Joe. We got a big Joe fan over here. Zane Jaffrey says, if Joe does come back, there are going to be some very interesting feuds for him. Absolutely. Davidian saying, Savage, hi, how are you today? I'm doing good today, my guy. Oh, okay, he's just responded to someone in there. Rorito from Puerto Rico watching us. Samoa Joe versus Aleister Black. It is what we all want to see. Yeah, that would be great. I would absolutely love to see that. Damian Morgan talking about The Rock. The Rock says he's going to lay at the SmackDown on his candy ass. And he also saying that they've dodged Keith Lee. Yes, Keith Lee's still stuck on the shelves for many, many months now, since way before Elimination Chamber. We still don't know exactly why we have not seen Keith Lee on TV. There's been numerous reports about Keith Lee not being medically cleared. Keith Lee has also posted numerous times on Twitter to the fan base in particular to be very patient, that he'll explain everything when the time is right. Just kind of leaving a lot of cryptic tweets out there. It's also been widely reported that he's essentially on a medical leave. He's not medically cleared, but nobody has disclosed what type of situation it is.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
It's such a mystery with him. I really don't know how to take it. It almost seems like when Lee tweets, it's frustration, and it doesn't seem like he's agreeing with what management is telling him. So the story will come out in due time, and it's going to be real interesting to see what happens, in regards to that.
Absolutely. Guys, sound off in the comments. Let us know about today's top stories. We have The Rock possibly returning to a major pay-per-view later this fall at Survivor Series. Wide speculation, wide reports of The Rock coming back by Dave Meltzer. That could kick off the feud of The Rock and our tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Also, the location of Survivor Series. Chime in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking, and make sure you are subscribing to our channel on YouTube. And if you don't want to watch the videos, listen to the podcast. We have the Sportskeeda podcast where we have tons and tons of content. You can listen to the top story of the day. You can listen to the Inside Cradle, which is the long format podcast of the week, where Kev Kellum, SP3, and Rick Cucino, they all talk about what's going on throughout the week. Plus, if you're watching us on YouTube and you want to catch all the stuff that we got going on the week, we have Smack Talk going down tonight at 10:05. Jeremy will be on the show with Dirty Dutch Mantel. So, guys, you're going to listen to some crazy stories from Dutch Mantel. He always gives them every Friday night. On Monday nights, we also have Vince Russo covering Monday Night Raw with Dr. Chris Featherstone. Let's see how many bros he can drop on a single night. And on every Wednesday night, you got myself, Enrico El Grosso, covering AEW and NXT. It's just been a weird schedule with AEW for these last 2 weeks because it's been on a Friday night. And I even saw a petition, actually, while I was scrolling through social media. Somebody made a petition to move the NBA playoffs to another day so AEW didn't lose any viewers. Yeah. Did you happen to see that?
I did not see the petition, but I am going to be glad next year when we don't have to worry about this at all.
For real, I know. All right, guys, reading some of your comments before we head out for the weekend. Rorito Jose, do you like my idea for the comeback for The Rock? Absolutely, I love your idea, man. Your ideas are always great. Zane, Joe versus Reed. I don't know, Joe versus Reed. Oh, Bronson Reed. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be fun. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. I think another one would be Joe and Adam Cole, because I don't think I don't think they really Joe never really ever crossed paths with Undisputed Era, just because it was short. He got called up shortly after they debuted, so that would be tremendous. And I see Kevin in the comments.
Kev Kellum joining us. He's at a wedding today, guys, so just pray for him that he's having a good time, guys. Rorito, he's saying here's a good storyline. What if Roman brainwashes Simone into joining his stable, and that's where The Rock comes back? So Simone acknowledges Roman as the tribal chief, but doesn't really acknowledge her dad.
I've heard
it's a great angle.
I've heard something crazier than that. I've heard that there's talk, very, very speculative talk, that WWE might be talking with MLW. And who's the champion at MLW? For about 600 days, Mr. Jacob Fatu. That could add even more interesting storylines into this family feud.
Absolutely. Dro here on YouTube watching us saying, Jose, I don't think that my guy Roman Reigns is not facing Ray because he doesn't want to. The Rock will be back at SummerSlam because he lives in Hawaii. Okay. I think that's a valid reason. That's you could do whatever you want, but I think SummerSlam's too soon. We're gonna get some big names at SummerSlam. The Rock is not going to be one of them. There's been plenty of reports and speculation about John Cena possibly returning for SummerSlam. Now that we know that SummerSlam is going to be at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Tribal Chief Roman Reigns versus John Cena is the speculated main event. That's going to be the draw. That's what's going to bring back the casual fans to fill up that stadium in Vegas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think, and it's going to be great because I think it's going to be a reverse of The Rock and Cena. Remember, Cena was bagging on The Rock for leaving for Hollywood while Cena was there every week. Well, now Roman is there every week, basically leading off SmackDown every single week. And John Cena has not had a match in how long? And I don't know if we're going to count that Firefly Funhouse match or not, but John Cena has not had a full-fledged match in a long time. So I think Roman is going to have a lot of ammo for John when he comes back.
Absolutely, especially this version of Roman, because the last time they faced each other, John Cena really scolded him on the mic, even though, they have a really great match, but Roman wasn't ready at that time to be on but this version of Roman, absolutely.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
It really is going to be fun. Samuel, let's see here. Samuel Chibuna watching. He's saying, I will love Brock Lesnar to return and The Rock becomes WWE champion again. Wow. People want The Rock to be champ again. Jonah Newland was saying, what's going on with Strowman? Well, Strowman has been, if you guys remember, he was released last week. But there's been tons of stories on him this week, from stories of him charging 5 figures for a booking fee, for him denying those reports and saying that if you want to do business, contact my agent, to having a brand new look. He shaved off his beard today. It's all over social media. He's looking good. He looks like he's enjoying life. So I'm not worried about Braun Strowman. He was making $1 million a year, guaranteed. He's fine.
Yeah, he's been saving his pennies too, from what I've heard. So he hasn't been lavishly spending. So he'll be. Nah. He's not. He doesn't need to be in a rush to go anywhere at this point.
Nah, and the good thing, and Strowman has a very big social media presence, both on Twitter and on Instagram. And I also think he does some stuff on YouTube, like hunting related. So he'll be fine. He does. Money's not going to be an issue for him. If the fans want to see him, the fans can watch him on YouTube. But he's not going to be Braun Strowman. He's going to be Adam Scherr there.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Let's answer a few more questions before we sign off for the weekend. Jose, Roman Reigns versus John Cena for the Universal title, World Heavyweight title. This match is a no holds barred ladder match at SummerSlam. Well, maybe. I don't know if we want to do a ladder match for that. I don't think that's going to fit. Well, maybe if it's see, Kevin brought up something yesterday. He said, well, what if John Cena wins at Money in the Bank? Like, what if he comes back? Kind of like remember how Brock Lesnar showed up at that one Money in the Bank when he wasn't even advertised for it and just randomly won?
I can hear the internet groaning right now.
Yeah. Cena winning the Money in the Bank, and I don't know, but this is a creative way of doing something like that. We have to see how the story would develop for something like that.
Yeah.
Couple more questions here off topic, guys, but I only counted 2 women's tag left, champs and Mandy and Dana. We should get rid of women. Oh, get a women intercontinental title, so a secondary title. There's been a lot of people that's talked about having a secondary title. WWE already has tons of titles.
Too many.
I don't think they need it. I don't think they need any more.
I think they got a new budgeting team right now with Nikki Cross and Asuka, though. Those two worked really well together, personality wise. So I think they've got something in the future there.
I think so too. They did show some really good chemistry tagging with each other. The only thing that irks me is Nikki Cross's music, man. You got to change up that music.
Man. What the heck is that?
That country music does not fit that Scottish lady, man. You need to give her.
I think I said this on Twitter when it debuted. I think to me it sounds like a USA 90s cop drama theme.
She just needs to wear the shoulder padded blazer, come out with a gun, and just look up
the old Cagney and Lacey there.
Oh my god, no, but yeah, they need to do something with that.
It's music. Brutal,
yeah,
brutal.
It's terrible. Give her something that represents her a little bit more. That does not. I feel like that doesn't represent her, but that's just me.
It doesn't have to be the Sanity theme anymore because that's not really her anymore. They need to go back to the drawing board on that one.
I completely agree. All right, guys. Well, that does it for today's top story of the day. Guys, make sure you are subscribing to Sportskeeda Wrestling on YouTube. Smash that notification bell so you never, ever miss a new video or a live stream. If you're watching us on Facebook, hit that like button, the share button, share it in your favorite wrestling group. If you're watching us on demand, and tag your friends in the comment section so they can join us in the conversation. Jeremy, what you got going down this weekend?
This weekend, well, you can catch me right here on these channels after SmackDown for some Smack Talk tonight. I think I'm going to be with SP3 and Dutch. This weekend, I'm going to enjoy wrestling Against All Odds and TakeOver, and we're going to talk about it on my podcast here Thursday, Lost in the Midcard. So search your YouTube or your podcast for Lost in the Midcard. For myself and fellow Sportskeeda writer Matt Black, we'll be talking about the weekend. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome, guys. So make sure you follow Jeremy at JB Huskers on Twitter and on Instagram. Follow me at Jose G Official with the underscores in between. Same on Twitter and on Instagram. And guys, remember, when you're watching wrestling, the most important thing to do, guys, is enjoy it. Have a good weekend.